So, welcome to New Movie Mondays, where I review a movie for you, and this is the one that I will be reviewing today, Interstellar. And this particular copy here was gifted to me by Unicorn Rampant Studio, which I absolutely am incredibly thankful for. For years, people have been telling me, please do watch this film. You're missing out on a lot. And it's true. I do agree with that. I am going to do a basic spoiler review, non-spoiler review at first, and then later on I will do a spoiler review, and I'll let you know when I get into spoilers. So let's see if I can add my handy dandy slideshow for New Movie Monday. And here's the poster for Interstellar. Let me go through a bit of the information that is provided on Wikipedia. Now, I know that Wikipedia is not 100% correct on everything, but this is my source that I'm using today. I hope that you will be okay with that. And for now, this is what we have. I haven't had enough time to go into detail. This is fresh off the cuff. Just saw it with just hours ago, and I wanted to start talking about it immediately. Interstellar is a 2014 epic science fiction film co-written, directed, and produced by Christopher Nolan. Everybody is familiar with Christopher Nolan's work, and my goodness, this is really showcasing what he can do. So this movie stars Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Jessica Chastain, Bill Irwin, Ellen Burstyn, um, Matt Damon, Michael Caine. And we do have a performance by Timothy Chalamet and Casey Affleck. These are really incredible performances. They're really nuanced, fantastic. What else? I mean, these are actors working at the very top of their game. I mean, incredible stuff. We're gonna get to it. It is set in a dystopian future where humanity is embroiled in a catastrophic blight of famine, and the film follows a group of astronauts who travel through a wormhole near Saturn in search of a new home for mankind. Very, very good. So why wasn't I convinced to watch this film or to dive deeper into this film? Well, number one, I will just say that this this poster isn't doing it any favors. It is not doing it any favors at all. And unfortunately, it is it's a shame because I am sure it would have gotten a lot more attention if it was different. I think the poster isn't everything. This is about the best poster that you could possibly have from this particular movie without giving away all the secrets. And not to say that this shot isn't fantastic, it just isn't inviting and warm and sweet and cuddly, right? It doesn't say, "Come watch me." It says, "Okay, cold." It looks cold there. So yeah, it didn't invite me in. Didn't get me through the door, is what I'm saying. It's my saying for marketing that gets you through the door. This one did not. So that was a deterrent for me and maybe for a lot of other people. So the movie, I don't want to get into spoilers just yet, but I just want to talk generally about the movie before anybody has to leave because we get into spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie before, I do urge you to actually watch it. It is really, really good. But during the time of watching it, you may begin to feel emotions very similar to the characters. And I believe that is something that is prevalent in many of Nolan's films. There's a way of doing sound design to boost up the music at certain times with an emotional flair. It is really intense And it's prevalent in a lot of his movies. So you may have movies where things are happening, but the music crescendo really gets to feel like you're one of the characters experiencing the chaotic moments that are happening. And I think that is, some people may like it and some people may not like it. It can make people feel like too irritated to be in to watch, because there's something nice about being in your comfortable space and actually watch something from afar than to actually feel like you're actually in that moment of chaos and panic and stress and so on and so forth. So I actually experienced those things while I was watching this film. So this is a movie I wouldn't say is my go-to, is going to be my go-to to watch all the time. It is pretty intense. However, the story here is really good. Lots of callbacks to things from earlier parts of the film, so you have to pay attention. It's not one of those movies where they waste your time. There's none of that. The story is very robust scientifically. It also feels like it's modern science, as long and as well with some pseudoscience in there, and also um, just generally speaking, you may, if you enjoyed 2001: A Space Odyssey, you may really, 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 really love this movie, because it's like the long lost twin sister of that movie, not doing the same notes necessarily all the time or have the same exact premise. No, it is different, but it also has many similarities that you might want to say, like, hey, I see what you're doing. The attention to detail here is incredible. I will mention that a few times, and that helps to really sell what's happening on the highest end of filmmaking. There is not one moment where you don't feel like you're involved or inside of those moments. And for an individual, any individuals out there who want to escape for a few minutes into another story that's other than their own, this is perfect because it does transport you into the story. I um, don't have a perfect score for this. There are certain things that I have problems with. A few characters that I'm not in love with, but that doesn't mean I can look at those characters and feel a certain way about them, but know that that doesn't speak for the entire production. I can still enjoy who they are in the story and why the story is unfolding the way it is. So I do have questions about certain characters and also problems with them. So I wanted to let that be known. But otherwise than that, I gave this movie a I believe I gave it a 9. Like I said, it doesn't receive a 10 for a few things that I personally had an issue with. Actually, I'm gonna give this a 9.5. Sorry, not a 9, but a 9.5. Because the other elements were just perfect except for some of the things I had a problem with. And they're personal to me because not everyone is gonna have the same problems with every movie. Like I was saying about the attention to detail with the sound and music, the score. Like some people may feel like that's just too much for them to absorb in one sitting, that it's too distracting, and so that has been a problem for a lot of people. For me, I understand and I get it, but also, I know that when I watch this film, or other films by Nolan, I know that he's going to do that. He's going to bring that intensity with sound. And so I do look out for that. And it has its place, good and bad. Now, let's get into the story. So, I am going to urge anyone who is still interested in watching this movie that hasn't watched as of yet to do please um, go see the movie before you finish watching this. I think it's really good. If you don't care about spoilers, keep watching. And if you have seen the movie, I want to commiserate with you. All right, so uh, we've got the beginning of the story, which we get a glimpse, and it's not really dug into too deeply, but the main character, Cooper, it used to be an astronaut, but something went wrong, and he is now a farmer. Now, uh, the setup for this particular world of Earth is one of a dystopia, like I said before. There's lots of dust clouds, dust storms. It's hard to breathe for most people. The air is being sucked out, I believe. Let's see, I have some notes here. 90% nitrogen on planet Earth. Very, very scary stuff there. And so it is becoming harder and harder for human beings to survive. And so we have a situation in which the human race could be extinct within a matter of years, and so that is a reality for this earth. And many people have interpreted this story to be a story of a warning of pollution, and I'm not sure. I think there've been a lot of stories similar to this about the future of Earth being desolate, being unable to grow crops, being in such a situation like this. And so it is not hard to believe that is a common fear of human beings on planet Earth, that we will use up the resources and that we will have less air to breathe, and it will change the environment. The environment will change, and so there is an underlying component of environmental warning, if you will. Uh, but not too much. It doesn't. It overpowers the story enough to tell the story, but not enough to distract from, the reality that these people are having now. And it is the source of the reason why humans need to go to other planets to do things, or to start over, or to be transported from Earth. It's no longer a place that people can survive and be happy. He's trying to raise his family. There is no indication about a mother or where the mother is, no grandmother. Like, he doesn't have a mother, the kids don't have a mother. They completely don't have any mother figures here at all. So it's almost like the old Disney method here, but it doesn't distract too much from the story. He's a single father trying to make it, and that's the main thing that they um, impress upon the story. There we have Timothy Chalamet playing the young son, John Lithgow playing the grandfather, and he's like worn out having to be the second parent. It's a lot of hard work, and so you feel the wear and tear in his demeanor and his voice and the way he carries himself. He's like, he's too old for this kind of thing. And maybe he's not, but he's definitely feeling like I'm pulling too much of my weight here. Is really what's going on, and I do like that character that's happening in the story. Now, the young man is pretty much, wants to live a regular life, does decent grades at school. He's not trying to make trouble. Very low key, very average kid. It's the daughter that's a little bit unique. First of all, she's very sassy. I have a very big problem with this character. I really do. She is just very much thinks about herself constantly, and never imagines anyone else and anyone else's problems. But at the same time, to give her some credit, she is going through some issues. In her room, she is experiencing some weird things, some weird, what they've called anomalies. And these anomalies are light and in space and gravity, and she's getting Morse code, all sorts of strange things happening. And basically, no one believes her, and even her dad is like, I don't believe. Like, he doesn't believe it either, but he's trying to reach out to her. He's trying to keep in contact with her before she becomes too irresponsive to him. And she's, I guess, in her tweens, and he's desperately trying to maintain this relationship with this girl. Sometimes she's into it, and sometimes she's not. So it's touch and go with her. Somehow these two are taken on a sort of an adventure, and they accidentally bump into NASA's secret headquarters, in which they inform this former astronaut, like, "Hey, we are piloting a vessel to go into space, and we need you. We need your help to take care of this because you're the best pilot, and you just kind of fell into our hands. So why not?" He's not happy being a farmer, and so this opportunity to do something noble, which is the mission is going to outer space in order to find planets that are habitable for Earth, and also to find possibly if the plan they call it Plan A, and Plan B is just find a planet to put a colony of Earthlings or humans and and have them start a new civilization there. Again, it's a noble cause, but in his mind, he's going on Plan A, that they're gonna find a way to save all the people on Earth and transfer them to a place where that it's more habitable for human beings, since the Earth is no longer capable of that. Now, the young daughter doesn't like that. She's pissed off at him. She's just absolutely incredibly rude, thinking about herself. And she's like, he's leaving. He's leaving for a long time. He may not come back. Yeah, I did not like this character. I did not like the little girl for being so stubborn and so angry. And her father is saying, "I'm going and I'm never coming back, or possibly never coming back." And she's like, "You're leaving me on purpose." And maybe there might have been some more to the story, that maybe the mom left, and there, maybe there was something that I did not see. I have to say that I might need to see this one more time. Maybe the mom was mentioned. I don't remember this, but the relationship between the father and daughter is really the glue that keeps this entire thing very, very interesting all the way up into the end, and it matters. It really does matter. So that's what I do like about the daughter, the relationship that is going on between her and Cooper, and that fact that it actually matters in the story. It's not just a contrivance for trauma. So, unfortunately, he goes off to his mission, emotionally distraught for having to leave his daughter, who is not taking it well. The son, very respectful to dad, very you go, okay, now that's how you're supposed to behave when your dad says he's going off on a mission. You give him a big hug. Then we have, all the sequence of meeting the crew and the details of the ship and all that. It was all extremely detailed, and I absolutely loved it. I was like, wow, this is really technically detailed. I felt like I was in that scenario, like I could walk around that ship and be amongst the people on the crew. It was very well done, very realistic. Then we in order to get to this planet, these planets, they have to go through a wormhole that suddenly opened up around the area of Saturn. And of course, if you watch 2001: A Space Odyssey, it was Saturn. Is where the Stargate was, and so that's very interesting that it was Saturn is once again the place where we can find stargates. There's also another one. Oh yes, 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 the black hole. So on this planet, they find three planets. One is looks like um, it's a nice exoplanet, which I don't know why they didn't get to that one first. The other one is an ice planet, and then there's one that is a water planet. Well, as soon as they reach the water planet, oh my God, it is just chaos. It is a mess, a hot mess, a big disaster. Not only that, this water planet has time dilation, and which I was just like, this is cool. Every hour that they spend on this planet is 7 years. 7 years. And so they remain the same, but the rest of the universe is aging. And so they leave one of their guys up there on the main ship, and they take one of the smaller ships to this planet. And like I said, it is a hot mess. They find the remnants of a previous group of people. So there's a previous group of people. They had three people that went off into these three planets and set up shop and investigated. Well, this particular one was just ravaged. They sent her years ago, but because of the time dilation, it would be minutes ago for these guys. I love that. That was really cool. I love it. So unfortunately, during this whole thing, because of got the name of this character. Let me find her character. Um, Her name is Dr. Amelia Brand. Dr. Amelia Brand, I love this character. She's just a scientist that is following her father's plans and is trying to help as much as she can during this whole process. She's really thrown herself to the wolves, if you will, for her father's idea of possibly reaching these other worlds and saving mankind. Unfortunately, yeah, due to Dr. Brand's actions, this guy over here, he is Doyle, who is one of the scientists and assistants. He dies almost immediately. It's tragic. It is also like this planet is messed up because it's just this planet is full of water, but it's just waves, like just piling through every single few hours, and these waves are the size of mountains. So they really, the ship gets really beaten up quite badly. But just at the right moment, they escape and they go back to their compadres out in space. And when they get there, the guy is a lot older. It's been 23 years. And he was like, I almost lost hope. And you guys, there's also a stasis that they can go in that preserve their age and their health. And so, but this guy said that there were times when he thought that they weren't going to arrive, so he didn't want to spend all of his time in space asleep. And so when they get back on the ship, this is a meme that pretty much anybody has seen who's been on YouTube or on Twitter. Usually it says, "This is my reaction to." Such and such, and it's just, Matthew McConaughey crying. Like at first it starts off a little bit, and then it gets to be like sobbing horribly, and it's basically him looking at all of the messages that was sent to him by his family. And it's really interesting because his daughter doesn't send him any messages, but his son does. And his son is, first very um, uh, sweet and kind, and he's hopeful, and then he's like, I met a girl and I've got a family. And as he's getting older, he transforms into Casey Affleck. And, he says, look, I'm running the farm, I'm doing this and that. But some people say that I need to let you go because you may not, I haven't heard back from you, and you may not be around anymore. So this is my last time sending the message. Also, we get one message from his daughter, all grown up, and she is pissed. She is still pissed. And and it's like, okay, so okay, I can get it. She still pisses. We still were confused why she was pissed in the first place, and know that she was angry that he was going to leave. But as I'm sure as you get older and you start to understand life, you begin to realize the sacrifices that adults make. But it was just kind of weird to me that she was still holding on to that. Now, the next planet that they go on is an ice planet, and it's revealed at this point that Dr. Brand is in love with one of the people who went to these planets, and it's not the planet that they decide to go to. It's not the other exoplanet, but this planet. And so, if they had taken her advice and gone to the other planet, life would be a lot smoother. But this is where things get really spicy. Because on the planet, they find the ship sending out a beacon, basically, and this is the reason why they chose this planet over the other one. It had a beacon that said, "Hey, I found something. It's habitable. Humans can live on this planet, and come in and get me." And basically, when they get there, they see the person is in stasis. It's Doctor Man, and Doctor Man is played by Matt Damon, who is just killing it as this character. He gets out of there and he's crying and he's like he thought he would never see people again. He tells them like, "Oh yeah, the place, it's habitable. You can humans can live here." And he has they have robots, which at first I was really not liking the design of the robots because they're basically like these um rectangles that move in like a jigsaw puzzle. And I was like, what is that? How can they be helpful? But as the movie goes on, I did like these robots quite a bit. By this time, he's lying to them and telling them that the planet is inhabitable, but it isn't. So at the very same time, this is Dr. Brand, the father of the female Dr. Brand, and he is telling uh, Cooper's daughter, who is all grown up now and is now working for NASA, so she should know the sacrifice that her father is making, right? She should know the sacrifice her father is making. So she So that's the part that I have a problem with this character, and look, I'm okay with the movie and everything, but this character in particular is like grates on my nerves because I'm like, why are you upset? Now you are part of the organization that sent your father on the mission, and you know what the mission is. So she should be like either cool with it or working towards trying to get her father back home. So Dr. Brand admits that basically he knew that this was going to be a one-way trip, and it was also going to be always, it wasn't plan A. Remember, plan A was to take humans from planet Earth and take them into one of these planets. His idea was just take the DNA of humans and take them into some planet out there and repopulate that planet with human DNA so that way humans exist somewhere out there in the void of space. That was his goal. He did not tell them, he did not tell people or any of the crew except for Dr. Mann that was his mission. So he admits this just on his deathbed as he was dying to Cooper's daughter. Let's find out what Cooper's daughter is so I can call her um, Murph. Murph. Yes, she is called Murph, which is short for Murphy. And of course, Murphy's Law, we all know what that is. Whatever can happen will happen. It's both hopeful and unhopeful at the same time. So I thought they did a wonderful job casting. I believe that they did a fantastic job matching them, not necessarily by looks, totally, but I think by personality. I definitely saw that little girl in Jessica Chastain's performance, and she did a great job. When these two find out, they are pissed. Everybody's pissed and shocked, and only person who knows what's going on is Dr. Mann, and he's like, yeah, but he's still lying. As now, I think at this point we can say that Dr. Mann may be delirious, right? Because being a doctor and knowing what he knows and knowing what was in store for him, even being stranded, he should have known procedures and things like that. He seemed to lose all that ability. There was a lot of panic in him. He's lying to everybody. His robot is disassembled and he has it booby trapped. So if anybody messes with it, it explodes. So that's terrible because not only is he's exploding valuable equipment with stuff that could be used, and he just doesn't seem to care. Um, but yeah, that's it's her finding out again. Anne Hathaway is doing an incredible job here. Everybody is just is incredible, is doing a fantastic job. It must have been really hard to be in such a an emotional state throughout the entire time of filming. So it again, hats off to these actors who are doing that. So so he's a little bit delirious, and so he tells Cooper, "I'll show you what's out there, and the habitation and all that stuff. Let's get everything ready." And Cooper's already like, "Yeah, I got to get out of here. I got to get back home to my daughter." He's like, he's changing his stance, especially after hearing about Dr. Brand and that he wasn't really, honest about his what he did. And I'm not sure if I explained that that's the catalyst for all of this drama at this point. So Dr. Mann takes Cooper out to a part of this world and basically tries to kill him. It tries to killing him, almost, and I guess the air is made of is full of ammonia, and he cracks his helmet, and then it's really becomes very difficult for him to breathe, and so it is. He thinks he's killed him, and he runs to the spaceship to go back to the main docking spaceship to go home. Uh, that doesn't quite work because when it gets to the docking station, he doesn't have the codes, and his rush to do things, and I believe delirium. I think he was delirious. He ends up killing himself, but uh, pretty crazy. Being, I guess, alone for a long time can make you a little bit crazy if you don't have contact at all with other human beings. So he was so desperate at this point, but his training should have told him otherwise, and that it would have been much better for them all to work together, and it would have increased their chances of survival. And so this booby trapped robot blew up and kills the other person, in which I don't have any pictures of him. I couldn't find any online. Romilly, played by David Gayassi. He was very good at the role as well. So it was a shame that that character had to die, but the lunacy of Dr. Mann, he killed. So it sort of reminds me of sort of the lunacy in the black hole. If you see that movie, and I wish maybe it had taken it a little bit further, like he had really lost his mind a little bit more. But it was prevalent. He was something wasn't right. As soon as they met him, he was like crying and whimpering about not seeing anybody, human beings. But then and then he was ready to kill them in a few moments. So very very interesting. So they have determined that the best way for them to proceed forward is for Dr. Cooper to slingshot herself to in a vehicle to the other planet where she can see meet up with Dr. Edmund and see his progress and then begin the process of Plan B, and which is their last hope for mankind, which is to set up these incubators and start raising these human beings on this new world. That is the plan, and it's executed. The other piece of it is that because she's able to do that, the main ship has to go into the black hole. And this is where we get a lot of some more sequences, a lot like 2001: A Space Odyssey, where you're in sort of like this void that makes that is defying reality. At some point, Cooper has to eject himself from the ship, and he ends up in this like fifth dimensional plane, which is really super awesome. So, this is a visual of the station and all the stuff that they have to do. Um, and meanwhile, on planet Earth, Cooper's son and daughter, they are fighting with each other, but and not getting along very well. But uh, she is trying to go to her room to see if she could map out what is um, going on, what has happened in the past, and she's trying to just piece together this puzzle, and she doesn't quite know what the puzzle is. I thought this was brilliant, to be honest. So there is Cooper in this multi-dimensional plane, and not quite sure what it is. And like, then you kind of look at it, and it's like, what is this? Is it like it looks like bookshelves almost? And that's exactly what it is. It is bookshelves, and he is on the other side of a bookshelf. But which bookshelf? It is peering into his daughter's room. Um, and all this time, she has been saying that she's seeing a ghost, but she hasn't been seeing a ghost. It's been him the whole time. I love that. It twists the story and gives you this context for this bit of minutia. You think it doesn't really matter in the beginning, and it means something by the end. Absolutely love that. I love excellent writing. Excellent writing. Again, my feelings about the daughter is aside. This was brilliant. This was brilliant. Somehow he's able to communicate with her, and in various ways through this sort of dimension. And he's using the books. He's using sand. He's doing all sorts of things. There's a watch that he gives her before he left, and he encodes that with the codes to a gravitational, um, like a gravitational formula, so that way she can finish it and therefore save Earthlings. And so this is her working on it. She picks up on it, and she understands that there's a better connection to her and her father at this point, or understanding that he was the one that was guiding her. It's a great transformation of this character, great character arc for this character. I like I said, I did not like the character in the beginning, but definitely that change is uh, is 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 evident, and it makes sense for how it fits in the story. Wonderfully done. Very precious to see the changes. Somehow, I don't know if we're gonna say somehow, he makes it out of the black hole, and they find him just in time to save him, and he gets to go home. And when he goes home, he doesn't actually go home. He goes to a spaceship that is applying this gravitational formula. He gets to see his daughter, and his daughter has aged considerably and is not really doing very well. But he comes by to see her, and she's like, and she says, "It's I only did this because I believe that my daddy my daddy said promised he was gonna come home, and he did. And that's so cute. I mean, actually, I'm gonna get a little verklempt because, yeah, you get the sense that she's changed her heart a lot. She's accepted that he loved her and that he did this. He said that he was going to come back home, and he did. You know, he completed his promise to her, and that was wonderful. Um, and she tells him, I mean, she's got a lot of family around her. So I was like, okay, is he going to be introduced to his family? So they were like, she said, don't worry about the family, don't worry about me. Um, just I've got a lot of people to support me and give me a lot of love. You go back out there and find Dr. Brand, who is out there on some planet and needs someone to be there for her. So he gets on a spaceship and goes into outer space, possibly to go see her. Now, we do get a glimpse of Dr. Brand at the end, and she is burying Dr. Edmonds, which it looks like she's completely heartbroken and does not know that somebody's coming to, you know, to be with her. And it's not played for romance. It's not played for romance. It's played for a friend and going to a friend or someone else who has experienced similar traumatic things with you. You want to continue to hold on to those bonds, right? So um, I think that was his reasons for going out there. And she was alone. She was alone. She is going to be a mother of the new civilization on this new planet. And so it would be kind of nice if he was there to be kind of the father too. I love that. It was really like mwah, 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 mwah. I love that. I love it so much. Uh, it just meant so much to see that possibly these two characters are gonna be together in and helping to create a new society, a new world of brothers or sisters to the human race on planet Earth. So um, that uh, is pretty much it for the story. I'm becoming a bigger fan of Christopher Nolan's films and understanding his language very much. This picture will show you like the details of this. It looks like they're really on a spaceship. It really looks things are weathered, things are dirty, things are like there's a purpose for all the different little things that they have going on there. Not one moment not one detail was overlooked here, and it just makes you feel like you can walk into that set and be there. It's not a green screen of this. And they really did go to Iceland, and they really did go to, I believe, Iceland or some of the locations in order to, like real locations in order to portray these other worlds. Let's see if I can find if they went to Iceland. Principal photography. Now, this is from Wikipedia, so may not be 100% always correct. So I just need to put that out there. Nolan shot Interstellar on a 35 millimeter film in the Panavision anamorphic format and IMAX 70 millimeter for photography. Okay, so the film's principal photography was scheduled to last 4 months. It began August 6, 2013, in the province of Alberta, Canada. Towns in Alberta where shooting took place included Nanton, Longview, Lethbridge, Fort MacLeod, and Orcotots. For the cornfield scene, producer designer Nathan Crowley planted 50 acres of corn so that uh, 500 acres of corn that would be destroyed in an apocalyptic dust storm scene, intended to be similar to the storms experiencing during the Dust Bowl in the 1930s America. Additional scenes involving the dust storm and McConaughey's characters were also shot in Fort MacLeod. The giant dust clouds were created on location using large fans to blow cellulose-based synthetic dust through the air. Filming in the province lasted until September 9th, 2013, and involved hundreds of extras in addition to 130 crew members, most whom were local. Okay, so that is really intense. I mean, that's incredible. Okay, so yes, the ice world that they were on was shot on a glacier in Iceland. So that is pretty cool. I think they may have done some extra stuff in post to extend it, but I believe that's just my assumption, but don't take it as truth. That's what I was looking and I was like wondering. Oh, they said while filming a water scene in Iceland, Hathaway almost suffered hypothermia because her dry suit had not been properly secured. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, so it is very, very good. Okay, let's look at design. Um, Greg Landaker and Gary Rizzo are the film's engineers tasked with audio mixing, while the sound editor, Richard King, supervised the process. Oh, wow, that is really cool. Yeah, they did an outstanding job. It was incredible. And it says here Nolan deliberately intended some of the dialogue to seem drowned out by ambient noise or music, causing some theaters to post notices emphasizing that this effect was intentional and not the fault of their equipment. And that's something that I think is very important about his films is that he does tend to uh, do this in his films to bring up the sound design quite a bit and the music to a point that's almost deafening. Let's see. And for the music, Hans Zimmer, who scored Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy and Inception in 2010, returned to score Interstellar. Nolan chose not to provide Zimmer with a script or any plot details, but instead gave him a single page that told the story of a father leaving his child for work. It was through this connection that Zimmer created the early stages of the Interstellar soundtrack. Zimmer and Nolan later decided that the 1926 fourth annual Harrison and Harrison organ of the Temple Church, London, would be the primary instrument for the score. Wow, no wonder it feels so grand. Zimmer conducted 45 scoring sessions, three times more than for Inception. The soundtrack was released on November 18, 2014. Very nice. Now here's where we come to the awards because I believe this got an award for best visual effects, which is a wonderful, absolutely incredible in this scene. So that it received the Academy Award for this. Let's make sure. Okay, yes. So at the 87th Academy Awards, Interstellar received nominations for Best Original Score, Best Production Design, and Best Sound Editing. And also Best Sound Mixing, and one for Best Visual Effects. Now let's look at a bit of the visual effects. The visual effects company, Double Negative, worked on Inception and was brought back for Interstellar. According to the visual effects supervisor Paul Franklin, the number of effects in the film was not much greater than Nolan's Dark Knight Rises, released in 2012, or Inception. However, for Interstellar, they created effects first, allowing the digital projectors to display them behind the actors rather than having the actors perform in front of green screens. Ooh, okay. The Ranger, Endurance, and Lander spacecraft were created using miniature effects. You know how much I love miniature effects by Nathan Crowley. Yes, in collaboration with effects company New Deal Studios, as opposed to using computer-generated imagery. As Nolan felt they offered the best way to give the ships a tangible presence in space. Excellent choice and use and it works and it matters and it changes the perception of reality as you're watching this. It does not look like a 3D image, even though I would say ships are better objects than most. But the way there's like a small texturing that it's very subtle to the eye, very subtle to the eye that real actual components look when they're real. So yes, great. I'm so glad they used miniatures. That's why it looks so good. Okay. 3D printed and hand sculpted scale models earned the nickname Maxatures by the crew due to their immense size. The 1/15th scale miniature of the Endurance model span over 7.6 meters or 25 feet. Let's say 25 feet. While the pyrotechnic model part of the craft was built in 1/5 scale, the Ranger and Lander miniature span 46 feet and over 49 feet. Wow, huge, even though there were only 1/5 scale. Wow. Respectively, and were large enough for Van Hoytema to mount IMAX cameras directly into the spacecraft, thus mimicking the look of NASA IMAX documentaries. Ooh, the models were then attached to a six-axis gimbal on a motion control system that allowed an operator to manipulate their movements, which were filmed against background plates of space using VistaVision cameras on a smaller motion control rig. New Deal Studios miniatures were used in 150 special effects shots. Wonderful! Absolutely wonderful. Yes, I love it. Loved it, love it, love it. Regarding the concepts of wormholes and black holes, Kip Thorne said he worked on the equations that would enable tracing of light rays as they travel through a wormhole and around a black hole. So, what you see is based on Einstein's general relativity equations. Early in the process, Thorne had laid down two guidelines. First, that nothing would violate established physical laws. Second, that all the wild speculations would spring from science and not from the fertile mind of a screenwriter. That's very, very interesting that they just didn't just pull stuff out of the screenwriter to write this. It was from actual laws of physics. Great, great, great that they did do that. And it's really interesting because at the end they talk about gravity being the thing that binds all of space and time. That's always going to be there, and it depends on where you are, right? Or if you're in space or if you're in on a planet, it matters. So very, very interesting concepts. I did love all of that, and I really enjoyed myself while watching the film. And look, this is dream worthy, right? I can go to sleep and dream about theories and what further along about this world, what's going to happen to these guys in the future, what would have happened if certain other things happened than what happened transpired. There could be a full movie about what happened to Dr. Man on the ice planet, and what happened to Dr. Edmund. Definitely, it has also flavors of Planet of the Apes, where that's exactly what they were planning on doing. They were actually more looking for other worlds, to contact aliens and other beings, but it was quite interesting to see yet another movie like this that really went into detail about what it would be like to be an astronaut looking for other worlds to live on. And there's one sequence where they did talk about wormhole travel, and that was also fascinating. I think we have all kind of seen that one. Many people describe it to us that if you take a piece of paper, fold it in half, and poke a hole in it, and that hole will be the perfect example of a wormhole traveling from one distance to another. And if you like science, if you like, this is just gonna be wonderful for you. You don't have to be extra sciencey to know any of this stuff, right? You don't have to be an expert at science, but someone who's interested in it, because I think that's the beginning. If you're not interested in it, I don't know how this is all going to play for you. So if there's anyone who is not interested in science and who has seen Interstellar, please do leave some comments for me and let me know what you thought of this film. Absolutely would recommend this 100% to anyone. This was great. This was fabulous. I want to see more movies like this that's intelligent, has something to say. It is about love. It is about it's about the future. What could possibly it has an undertone of possibly how we treat our planet and how we utilize our planet. How do we maximize our planet without destroying it? Um, like there has to be a way for planet Earth to still be to survive, no matter what we do. And even if so, like, how do you go to other planets and terraform them and help them to be livable for human beings? How can human beings live on planets like the ice planet or like the water planet and survive? It's very complex and interesting. How do you do it? And we need to start thinking about that stuff because um, and maybe we could be 100 years out from this kind of situation, or maybe we could be literally like 50 years away or 20 years. We don't know. We don't know what could happen, what catastrophes could happen to lead us to have to go down this kind of route. But I think it is important for us to think about. This is definitely food for thought. If you're like me, who's always dreamt of space travel, being in space, and whether it's for, cheeky fun reasons like Barbarella, or if it's for something as serious as Interstellar, it's a lot of fun to imagine that human beings could really begin to do that on a larger scale. That we could be able to master science to the point we could travel to Mars on a regular basis or to the moon on a regular basis. One cool thing that they did mention in this movie is they were like the whole mission to the moon. They said it was completely fake, and I thought that was interesting. I laughed quite a bit because I'm like, there are a lot of people who do believe that the mission to the moon did not happen; it was all staged, and it was interesting to see that appear in a movie that was really about space travel, and and was about and had the equipment within the world of this movie to travel to so many different places. This is just like great movie. So this has been so much fun. I hope that you enjoyed my new movie Monday. So, yes, I do appreciate you guys being here, and thanks so much for all of your help with the channel. Uh, more videos are to come, more live streams are to come, and definitely more um, new movie Mondays will be here. I can't wait to start like making this look a little bit more polished too, because new movie Mondays, I've got to get used to even saying those words. So yes, definitely hope you're gonna have a wonderful week and take care of yourselves. Um, See if I have a good outro for you. Oh yeah, here's my outro. This is gonna be fun. Yeah. All right, guys. See you in the next New Movie Monday.